A tree does not speak. But it listens for 35 years. And eventually, it has something to say. Origin Protocol. Witness File 003-B, Classification, Anomalous Testimony. Case Status, Open. The following record was collected from a non-human subject in the Chernobyl exclusion zone, November 1987. Origin Protocol Field Team was investigating residual activity of ancient V003 in the contaminated zone when audio sensors detected organized acoustic patterns emanating from a single oak tree at grid reference 51.4N, 30.1E. The patterns were consistent with structured language. Ukrainian dialect. Approximately 35 years of accumulated vocabulary. This is the first and only instance in Origin Protocol history in which the witness is the tree itself. We have done our best to translate what it told us. Spring, 1952. The oak was 7 years old. 40 centimeters tall. A sapling growing at the edge of a logging path in the Volhynian forest. The man who found it was named Mikhailo Kovalenko. Age 31. Woodcutter. He had worked this forest for 12 years. He knew every large tree by name. This one was too small to have a name yet. He stopped anyway. He looked at it for a long time. Then he said, "This one will survive." He was not speaking to anyone. He was simply speaking. He came back the next day. And the day after that. He began describing his work. What he had cut. What he had left standing. Why? The oak was 7 years old and 40 centimeters tall, and it was learning what it meant to make choices about which things deserved to live. Mikhailo returned every working day for 35 years. He talked about his wife, Helena. About his daughter, Oksana, born in 1954. About the collective farm. About the weather. About which trees were sick and which were healthy. About the neighbors. About the seasons. The oak grew. By 1960 it was 2 meters tall. By 1965, 4 meters. By 1970, the oak had learned to distinguish between the sounds of different species of birds. By 1975, it had learned to track the movement of the woodcutter's footsteps from 200 meters away. By 1980, it understood that Mikhailo's visits were shorter in winter and longer in summer. It understood that the shortening of visits corresponded to something he called cold. It did not know cold. But it knew that cold was the reason he left earlier. And it had learned that reasons mattered. October, 1974. The oak was 29 years old. 8 meters tall. It was the first time it saw the structure. The hut came from the north. Moving between trees. The chicken legs made no sound that Mikhailo had ever described. The oak did not have a word for what it was seeing. It had words for, hut. Legs. Moving. Wrong. These were all words Mikhailo had used. None of them were sufficient. The structure passed 30 meters from the oak. It slowed. The entity inside looked out. The oak had no eyes. But it had learned from Mikhailo that looking meant directing attention towards something. It understood that it was being attended to. Then the structure moved on. The oak spent the next 12 years trying to find words for what it had felt in that moment. The closest it could find, from Mikhailo's vocabulary, was, recognized. April 28, 1986. Mikhailo came to the forest at 7 in the morning. He stayed for 4 hours. This was unusual. He normally stayed 40 minutes. He talked about an explosion. About radiation. About evacuation. About Helena and Oksana already being in the truck. He said he did not know when he would return. He said the forest would be fine. Trees were resilient. He said this twice. He placed his hand on the oak's bark. He had never done this before. He stood that way for a long time. Then he said, "I will come back." Then he left. The oak tracked his footsteps until they disappeared at the edge of its range. 200 meters. Then silence. It waited for the next day. He did not come. It waited for the day after. He did not come. It waited for 37 years. He did not come back. The exclusion zone was declared on May 2, 1986. The forest was empty. No woodcutters. No hikers. No collective farm workers. No sounds that Mikhailu had ever described. The oak had 35 years of vocabulary. No one to use it with. The structure returned in August 1986. The hut moved through the empty forest. It stopped at clearings. The entity inside spoke. The oak could now understand the words. Old Slavic dialect. The entity was asking questions. The oak had learned from Mikhailu that questions required answers. The entity was asking the forest, "Is there anyone here? Is there anyone who will speak with me?" The trees did not answer. They did not have 35 years of vocabulary. They did not understand that questions required answers. The oak understood. For 11 months, it listened to the entity ask the empty forest if anyone was there. And for 11 months, the oak said nothing. It was still learning the right words. July 1987. The entity had been asking the same question for 11 months. Is there anyone here? On July 14, the oak answered. It used the words Mikhailu had taught it. It said, "I am here." The entity stopped moving. The oak had learned from Mikhailu that stopping meant something had changed. The entity approached the oak. It stood at the base of the trunk for a long time. Then it asked, "What are you?" The oak considered this. It had the words, tree, oak, witness, listener. It chose the one Mikhailu had used most often when he described himself. The oak said, "I am someone who works in this forest." The entity was silent for a long time. Then it sat down at the base of the oak. It had not sat down in 11 months. It asked, "Tell me about this forest." And the oak told it everything. 35 years of Mikhailu's words. The entity listened until dawn. It did not move the hut for 6 months. Origin Protocol Field Team arrived November 1987. The hut had not moved in 4 months. This was the longest documented period of stationary behavior for ancient V003. The audio sensors detected the oak's acoustic patterns on day 3 of investigation. The transcript runs to 412 pages. The entity is still there. The hut has not moved since July 1987. Origin Protocol Assessment, Ancient V003 has entered a behavioral state with no historical precedent. It is not contained. It has chosen to remain. The oak continues to speak with it. Current session topics, as of the last field visit, what happened to Mikhailu? Whether he is still alive. Whether he will come back. The oak believes he will. Origin Protocol has located Mikhailu Kovalenko. He is 83 years old. He lives in Kiev. He has not returned to the forest. He does not know the oak is waiting. File remains open.